So if you remember when you began this course, we talked about two of the key aspects of the CO2, being transformational and being viral. And I wanted to share with you briefly one example of how the CO2 has been viral. So sometime last summer, a lady named Mina, who lives in the Bay Area, discovered our website and discovered the idea of CO2. She was really drawn to that by the Lord, and she began to practice this with one of her friends. And as she describes it, it was a transformational experience. Well, Mina's part of a women's group there where she lives, and they were having a retreat that was coming up, and they asked her if she would teach about this idea of the CO2 at the retreat. So Mina, about 50 ladies that were there from various places, Mina taught about the concept, and then she modeled it. She calls that doing a live CO2 with her friend. And then they divided all the ladies up into pairs and had them practice. And Mina describes it as being an amazing experience as these ladies shared their heart. There was vulnerability, there was transparency. As they listened to the Lord, so many of them heard something. There were many tears, and it was just a very significant time. A lot of the ladies went home from the women's retreat, and some of them, as they were listening to the Lord, felt like that the Lord was encouraging them to share this with their daughters. And so they began to do that. And they came back to Mina and said, could you teach us and our daughters how to do this? So, and you have to remember that during this time, I haven't even had a conversation with Mina. She's taken these ideas and totally run with them on her own. So Mina gets the idea of having a mother-daughter tea, and she puts the word out on this. There's so much response. There are 40 people, 40 women who want to do this, that they have to have 2 shifts. So they have the tea, and they again explain the idea, and they give the mothers and daughters a chance to practice. And as Mina describes it, there's not a dry eye in the place. Really some powerful things are happening between these mothers and daughters. And lastly, Mina emailed to me. We began to share what was going on, and she emailed me this one letter, really forwarding this on to me from one of the mothers. And so the mother's name is Christina, and Christina is writing this email to Mina. I wanted to read to you just a couple of sentences here. So Christina says, I wanted to thank you so much for investing in us women and our daughters spiritually. I and my girls have been blessed and will continue to reap dividends from your labors of love and the seeds that you've deposited in 2 generations. I want to share with you a quick story, she says. She said a number of years ago, she had heard the idea that the most important thing that you can give your children before they leave home is to teach them to hear the voice of the Lord. She said that really stuck with me. Sometime after that, she said she was talking with some other mothers, and one of them asked, how was I going to do that practically? And Christina said, I'm not exactly sure. And she said, and then the retreat. And I felt very strongly led of the Lord to teach and practice the CO2 concept with my girls. Having the tea sprang me into action, and I wanted to prep the girls for what they would be hearing there. So we listened to Mina's recorded session on hearing God from the conference and tried a couple of CO2s at home together in preparation for the tea. Then Christina says, here's the neat part. Sunday evening after the tea, I picked my daughter up from church, and she said her daughter shared with her this. She said, you know, Mom, this CO2 idea and CO1 is just one person listening to the Lord. She says, this stuff really works. She went on to share that she had just then tried a CO1, and she'd heard the Lord for herself and was so excited about the results. The mom says, she didn't give me the details, but I was so thrilled that she was practicing this tool with no prompting on my part and hearing from the Lord for herself. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, ladies, Christina says. What a precious and priceless gift, an answer to prayer. And I hope that this was an encouragement to you all as well. I just wanted to share some of the spiritual fruit coming from all that the Lord is doing in you and through you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But to me, this is a beautiful example, and these examples are increasing of how CO2 is a tool that is truly viral. It can be passed from person to person to person to person. Neil Cole at one point said, "Only that which is simple can multiply rapidly." And CO2 is a simple little tool. It's something that even young girls, young boys can do and love to do. And it's beginning to multiply, kind of like a benevolent virus. So, as you've been through this course, I hope that you'll begin to listen to the Lord about the people that He may want you to share this tool with, that this might begin to multiply and really change our understanding of what church is.